He could tell she didn't believe she belonged there. The way she sat across from him, fidgeting with her napkin, her eyes darting toward the exit every few seconds, it was as if she was waiting for someone to tell her it was all a mistake. The restaurant's soft music played in the background, but all he could focus on was her nervous smile. She said, "I don't deserve this date," and her voice trembled just enough to make him realize that those words weren't about this dinner. They were about everything she'd been through before this moment. Ethan had met Lily 3 months earlier at a small bookstore in Toronto. She worked the late shift, shelving books and helping customers find novels she clearly loved but couldn't afford to buy. He'd gone there often, pretending to browse, just to see her smile when she talked about stories that healed people. She had this quiet energy about her, the kind that comes from someone who has been hurt but still chooses kindness. So when he finally asked her out, she hesitated, looked down, and said softly, "I don't think I'm someone men take on dates." That sentence stayed with him. It wasn't arrogance, it was pain disguised as humility. So he told her, "Then let me be the first to prove you wrong." And tonight was that promise kept. The evening had started awkwardly. She kept apologizing, for being late, for ordering something cheap, even for talking too much. It broke his heart that she thought she needed to apologize for simply existing. When she said again, "I don't deserve this date," Ethan put his fork down, leaned forward, and said something that made her freeze. "You don't deserve this date. Maybe not. Maybe you deserve so much more than this." Her eyes lifted, startled. He continued, his voice soft but steady. "You deserve to sit across from someone who sees you, not what you've lost, not what broke you, but what's still good inside you. You deserve laughter that doesn't come with guilt. You deserve love that doesn't ask you to shrink yourself just to fit someone else's comfort." Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. She wasn't used to being spoken to like that, not since her last relationship ended, leaving her feeling invisible. Her ex had told her she was too emotional, too ordinary, too much of a mess. And for years, she'd believed it. She stopped dressing up, stopped celebrating her birthday, stopped looking in mirrors longer than a second. Ethan noticed the small scars of her past in the way she hesitated before every laugh. But tonight, something shifted. The way he looked at her, not pitying, not saving, just seeing. That kind of sincerity can rebuild someone from the inside out. They walked along the snowy Toronto street after dinner, their breath visible in the cold air. She hugged her coat tighter as he slipped his scarf around her neck. She laughed, saying, "You'll freeze." He smiled, "I can handle the cold. You've handled worse." It was a simple line, but it hit her harder than any compliment ever could. Because he was right, she had handled worse. Nights where loneliness pressed so hard on her chest it felt like breathing was a punishment. Days where she showed up to work despite wanting to disappear. Yet here she was, sitting beside someone who saw that strength instead of the damage. They stopped near a small bridge where city lights reflected on the half-frozen water. She looked down and whispered, "Why me, Ethan? You could be with anyone. Why choose someone broken?" He turned to her with that same quiet conviction. "Because you're not broken, Lily. You're healing, and I want to be part of the world that reminds you you're still worth something." She couldn't hold back her tears anymore. Not because she was sad, but because for the first time, she felt safe enough to cry. He didn't reach to wipe them away, he just let her have that moment. Sometimes, love isn't about fixing someone. It's about standing beside them while they fix themselves. They stood there for a long time, two people, different stories, same longing for connection. And when he finally walked her home, she turned before going inside and said, almost in disbelief, "Thank you for seeing me." Ethan smiled, his breath fogging in the night air. "I didn't just see you tonight, Lily. I've seen you since the first time you handed me that book in the store. And I think you deserve every good thing that's still coming your way." She closed the door, leaning against it, heart racing. That night, for the first time in years, she didn't replay her mistakes before falling asleep. Instead, she replayed his words, "You deserve so much more than this." And she believed them, not because he said them, but because she finally saw what he saw, a woman who survived, who still had light left to give. In a world that often tells people they're not enough, sometimes one kind voice can change everything. Ethan didn't give her a fairy tale ending, he gave her something better, hope. And for Lily, that was the most beautiful thing she'd ever been given.